digits. Cash can go either way. It's not completely unheard of course, for both T sides to get more rounds than CT sides. So.
Yes, definitely a very even map. I would say the most even actually nowadays, maybe even with Kabul. So.
There's Freakazoid though. Didn't quite capture that fragment down. I think it was in mid, and I can see that Cloud9 are traversing their way through highway. Freakazoid with a second is going to be landing those taps to perfection. And it's looking pretty good for Cloud9. They have bagged themselves 4 kills. Make that 5 as Skadoodle comes in. And just like that, in the blink of an eye, the pistol round goes away from G2 Kingwin.
It was a nice straightforward round. They boosted up on the box, on middle, and just jumped to short pretty much in 3 people, while 2 people kind of flanked from the A main. So nicely played by C9, just getting in the headshots. Freakazoid with the 2 entries. And I think only 1 player died from the entire team, so very well played by them for sure. It's going to be interesting, though, how they play the anti-ecos, and so far, it looks like they have a clear plan.
Yeah, they should be pretty comfortable. It's only really RPK that was standing between them and the initial charge onto B. You know, see that Existence is trying to hold down the fort with the Deagle, but he is going to be found out from nothing. Stewie 2K as well with the Galil Smith is going to answer back, but probably too little too late as far as G2 Kingwin are concerned, considering that they did commit into this round with Kevlar. So maybe just trying to save their MP7, not too interested about retaking the site. And indeed, N0 is nothing, by the way, for anyone that's confused.
Yeah, it took me a second as well.
What a scumbag.
Wow.
It does make sense, though, because he normally has a 0 in his name. So.
Yeah, of course.
The question is, can they save the weapons? And it looks like they will. They're over on the A side. Cloud9 don't seem too interested in this, but so far has been almost flawless rounds from them. So
Sharks could potentially do a bit of damage in the next round with the MP7 in case he does save it. And it looks like he will, because all 4 Cloud9 players are kind of on the T-spawn, and Sharks is quite far away, even though I don't know. Yeah, it looks like, yeah. He should be able to save this, which means he has a shot at getting in some money at least, if not even deal more damage to Cloud9. Even that 157 with a vest and 1 MP7 can deal a lot of damage in case Cloud9 aren't too worried about it and run into a stack or something. So it could play a factor in this round, but it looked like Cloud9 were pretty set on what they were going to do, and it looks like they're doing the same thing again.
Quite a greedy strat from Cloud9, all things considered, with 4 SMGs just looking to get some bank underway. Oh, nothing, just ducks below the gunfire. Goes for a second frag as well with the MP7, so he is going to get that money in the bank. Stewie 2K with the Galil once more is going to rip on through. And although Smith did answer back with 2 heavy-handed frags with a 5-7, Cloud9 will secure their 3rd round. So now G2 Kingwin are going to be picking up those M4s. I'm assuming that Smiths won't go for the AWP because it would be glass cannon.
Yeah.
So instead, M4 with utility.
None of the G2 players have helmets, obviously, because they bought up fully in the 2nd round. So that means they want as much utility as they can possibly get. Only 1 defuse. It could play a factor in the end, but at the same time, we have the new timers now. Then again, Stewie, the new guy, picking up the first frag.
Certainly is. Scream showed too much of his body, and he was put down with authority. And that is a big kill as well, because G2 Kingwin were saving up for this moment. They were hoping this was the time when they could start their campaign in GEC with their 1st round, but it puts a lot of pressure on Shocks. Existence is going to answer back. Very nicely done from him. He's still lurking in the vents as well. It's a difficult place to flush out if you don't have those Molotovs. 2 Molotovs in play for Cloud9. Freakazoid doesn't need any grenades, though. He just goes straight in and lands a headshot with the AK-47. Looking for the second as well. Smith should have had that kill. He had the drop on Freakazoid, who had a grenade out. Completely caught unawares. And G2 Kingwin just seeming like they haven't quite shown up just yet. Cloud9 are here. Large and in charge, and now Freakazoid has a chance to bag up yet more frags. There's a 3rd and a 4th as well. The beast is unleashed, and Cloud9 take those M4s away from G2 Kingwin, who are now back into another eco.
This is going to be rough. If Freakazoid comes alive like this, we could see. I remember this from the time that they had the 3 grand finals in a row, the grand final runs that they had in the summer, and it was very much because of Freakazoid just stepping up really huge. And we can see that here as well. First gun round, 4 frags for him, and really nice headshot as well. So it looks like he's coming alive, and it could be very worrying for G2.
And think about this, the whole Stewie debate as well. Will he, won't he? If Freakazoid is getting this many frags and entries, it frees Stewie up as well. There's no longer as much pressure on him.
Definitely.
Because now he can come in after Freakazoid, even if Freakazoid doesn't get kills and does do damage, then Stewie picks up kills, and he's just feeling better about himself anyway. So it has that domino knock-on effect, like that psychological aspect of Counter-Strike that we talk about so much. And again, it's Freakazoid in. There are Deagles on the side of G2 Kingwin, but the Molotovs are on point, and so is Freakazoid. He's going to come in for seconds. Here comes Shox, one of the players that you highlighted, but unfortunately, he was dancing on fire. And it will take him 6 for under. 3 players left for G2 Kingwin. Camera, please. There we go. As much as I like looking at corpses, I actually don't. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's a weird thing to say.
So, retaking for G2 Kingwin. Not too much reason to jump into the potential meat grinder of A. When you have a Deagle, that can still go through into the next round. P250, not quite as much of an investment, of course, but if they can get an exit frag and pick up an AK, then job done, I suppose, for G2 Kingwin. But they're starting off at a 5-0 deficit. We said this before, that Clash is a map where all hope isn't lost. If you go down to a 5-0 deficit, you can still drag it back. But a lot of these rounds have been clinical from Cloud9. Very clean kills, entry frags, executing onto a site, very little resistance whatsoever from the Frenchmen.
So far it has.
Belgians, of course.
So far it really has. I definitely like, yeah, this highlight was pretty nice. Couple of nice headshots from Freakazoid. And I wanted to talk about the entry fraggers a little bit, because it's pretty much whenever you have a bull that's entering the site for you first, you always know that there's going to be somebody baiting for you. So you're gonna always going to have a little freer role. You're always going to have a bit of freedom. And if he's doing well, if he's actually getting frags while doing that, that's just going to make things so much easier. It's a very hard role to play, but at the same time, it's super impactful.
It's a big round for G2 Kingwin again. They've got themselves a healthy dose of grenades and weapons, one of which is the AWP in Smith's hands. First time we've seen this for him. It's important they convert this into a round RPK. He's going to be on point. He heard Freakazoid drop to his right-hand side. Will claim the frag, switches to the AK. Now, they're going to know wherever he is, but can they flush him out of this position? He goes for the pop flash. No terrorists are there. And in actual fact, Stewie goes out by himself and gets picked off. Huge plays from RPK. And if G2 Kingwin can win this round with all 5 weapons left, that is huge for their economy as well. Build up the bank nicely. And Cloud9 still have Shroud and Skadoodle on their day. They could definitely cut G2 Kingwin down to size. Now it's about how much economic damage can they inflict. If they can take 2 or 3 weapons away from G2 Kingwin, that may be enough actually to start the downward trend. Because then G2 Kingwin, if they win this round, they've reset their round loss bonus, and then they're vulnerable.
Exactly. Definitely, even if they get only like two guns here, it's gonna affect the round, basically 2 rounds from now, in case Cloud9 do win and do break them. So, still very important round.
It's unfortunate for Shroud. He was banking on the prospect of someone being towards the quad side, and unfortunately for them, RPK was there. So only losing the 1 player towards the end of that round, not too bad for G2 Kingwin. And here's RPK. You can see that Shroud was assuming that it would be over on the other side of the site. Nice spray down. Although in fairness, there was a player in Squeaky as well, so they're pretty much screwed whichever way they went. That typically is the case, though, when you have a huge deficit. So G2 Kingwin, welcome to the scoreboard. Can you keep it going, though? It's important they keep this momentum going forward from here on out.
Yeah, RPK with 4 kills as well. A couple of them in middle. And I saw hints of a little bit of a miscommunication, or just maybe a lack of team play, because we saw Freakazoid coming out first on the roof there, but nobody really flashed for him. Nobody really helped him, and then Stewie 2K came in, and the same thing. He literally just ran out all by himself. RPK got 2 fairly easy duels. And there we go again. 0 coming in first.
2 kills exchanged for G2 Kingwin, exactly what the doctor ordered for them. And Cloud9, yeah, they do seem like if they can't get that first entry, then things do go slightly awry for them. That'll be an interesting thing to watch out for as this best of 3 continues. Shox, though, darting around the edge, ring around the forklift, and will get the better of Freakazoid. But he has taken heavy damage in return, and Stewie finishes him off with the grenade. So this is going to open up A a tiny bit. There are still players on the A site. I was about to say, including Scream and Smiths, and they both chant together, and that is another very comfortable, convincing round. Cloud9, though, because of their 5 rounds in a row, are able to buy back up again if they so choose. You do have $7,000 on Shroud, so he can drop an AK for one of his teammates if they so choose. And it's going to be a Tech 9 on nothing, and the rest of the team will have themselves the AK-47, so it's still a fairly decent buy-up. And I believe Smith's just got shanked at spawn from his teammate. That's
A little bit. 13 HP. It's not going to make a difference. Not against AKs. It would have... no, it wouldn't even have made a difference against an M4 usually. So, not a big deal.
The first kill, though. Oh, RPK this time holding off the other side, just behind the box. 2 kills, 3 kills as well, from the exact same position, and Cloud9 just conga-lining themselves into a death. Oh my goodness, that's rough to watch. But RPK, perfect spray control, crosshair placement. And G2 Kingwin, for the 3rd consecutive time, I believe, will win the round with only losing 1 player.
Cloud9 wanted to surprise G2 here, but it didn't really work out. They lost the player in middle, and nobody really returned the frag for him. I think there were 2 players in middle, though, and the other 3 just coming from this angle for RPK, as we can see. Very nicely played from him. And it looks like he is on the rise. As I said before, he was their best player in Minsk. And we could see more of that here.
Certainly could, especially if he keeps landing frags like that. There's an element of Cloud9 maybe not having the united force and aggression, but you can see right now that there is going to be a push around the back. That's going to be Shoxy with his MP7. And more importantly, maybe than the kills itself, is that he's dropped the bomb out there in no man's land. So he's able to claim that right now. Freakazoid is the only player to answer back. 4th consecutive round with G2 Kingwin only losing 1 player. That means that their economy is building nicely. 2 players, in fact 3 players, were around the 10k mark at the start of this round. So they're going to be able to afford weapons for the next 2 rounds, even if everything goes horribly wrong. So Cloud9 now, they go from being in a fantastic position at 5-0 up to wondering, okay, do we need to switch things up? What's going on wrong here?
Yeah, it just goes on to say how one-sided the rounds were for G2. The 4 rounds that they won, pretty much every single one of them were very one-sided. At least 3 players surviving, so we can see them building up a really good bank.
RPK just charges straight through mid. I thought if he bags himself a 2nd kill there, that's unforgivable for Cloud9. Like, the Avenge frag should have came in straight afterwards. But a 1-4 trade will favor the terrorists more often than not on a map like Cash. That being said, Shroud and Skadoodle are both pretty low. Around half of the HP remains. Shox is going to get the perfect flash from his teammate, but Cloud9 managed to dart behind cover just before he can unleash hell with his M4. He did throw the Molotov out just beforehand. G2K's taking damage in vents. And he's not going to get much done from there. So 3 players now from Cloud9 have taken damage. Has been inflicted upon them. Smith is there with the AWP, and Skadoodle jumps right into his crosshair. 2nd frag for Smith. This is beautiful play from him. And a 3rd as well. Not that it really mattered. And a 4th! Smith explodes with the AWP. G2 Kingwin again with a convincing round. And I suppose one of the worrying sides for Cloud9 now is we've had RPK step up, Shox has stepped up, Smiths has stepped up. Everyone's starting to find their form.
Smiths.
Beautiful play. The thing is, you can see there, normally what you're expecting to... There's a lot of time left, like 45, 50 seconds. You're expecting to see flashes and smokes.
Nothing.
Stop. They didn't have anything left in the tank. They had no utility to use on that aggression. Yeah. So Smiths just played it perfectly, but...
Yeah, he wasn't pushed back. He wasn't... Nobody threw a Molotov under him, so he didn't have to move at all. He just had 4 free shots. And it's not the way Cloud9 want to enter a site like that.
Certainly not. They don't have much utility this round either. They've gone for the AKs rather than maybe sacrificing for a Galil. But they've just gone for an all-out aggressive push, and it's Shroud now. It steps up, but he can't hit the consecutive shots. And now that finds Cloud9, they're 2-on-2. Make that a 2-on-1. It's RPK. He has been a monster so far. Lands the dink, but Stewie2K still alive. That Molotov could certainly burn him out. And meanwhile, the bomb is being planted. Stewie2K has to relocate. This isolates him from his teammate, but the crossfire is there, and RPK can't get it done. I feel quite sorry for him, because if that first dink is converted into a frag outright, you're in a 1 versus 1. The whole dynamic of that retake is shifted on its head. So kind of unfortunate there, but Cloud9 have finally broke the curse. So strangely enough, we've had streaks of 5 rounds go each way. I wonder if that's going to continue to be the case here and Cloud9 finish it off 10-5. Very unlikely, though. Double AWP setup for G2 Kingwin.
The double op could help them now, because we know Cloud9 to be very aggressive, so they will probably show themselves to one of these ops. And they don't have, well, they have one on Skarulo, and there we go. Actually, Smith goes aggressive in Squeaky, so that's one man down, 5v4 suddenly, and even if Cloud9 suddenly go to B site, there's existence most likely. I think he's on the B site. Yeah, he's actually near middle now, so he's kind of the second guy on B. As we see Sharks going aggressive in the main.
Yep, and it's going to bag themselves a player advantage for now. Still have both those AWPs in play. Oh, Stewie2K actually switched his weapon, but still managed to stay alive somehow. Bomb in his back pocket, and he has nothing. His commander-in-chief on Squeaky. He's setting up the smoke right here. We're trying to execute onto the site. What I like about Cloud9 is, though, they're not waiting until the end couple seconds. They're mixing it up. They're having slow rounds, but they're also having aggressive rounds. This is something we wanted to see from Flipside yesterday, which they never seem to be able to do. So at least Cloud9 are mixing things up and keeping it fresh. And you can see that G2 Kingwin are respecting them as a result. They're not stacking any sites. They are completely split up. In actual fact, A is the weaker of the sites right here. And here comes the execute with 33 seconds left on the timer. Molotov's going to be flying over towards Fort Cliff. I think it was actually extinguished and on quad as well, but the smoke's enough to choke on, forces Stewie out, does do significant damage, could get this bomb planted. How's utility looking for G2 Kingwin? It's non-existent, and Smith goes in without the rest of his team. That could be a huge mistake that cost them dearly. This is where you'd love to have a Molotov or a HE in the hands of G2 Kingwin just to throw behind quad. Stewie is still very, very low. He's dependent on nothing, staying alive in existence with the AWP shot. Stewie felt compelled to go for the peak because he was so low and he could feel the pressure, but nothing was the key man there if they wanted to clutch the round. That being said, G2 Kingwin take it and bring us back to equality once more, 6-6.
Yeah, I didn't understand much Smith's thinking, because he just suddenly pushed it without anyone behind him. So that could have cost a round there, but in the end it didn't. And I think, yeah, G2 actually stayed with that double op setup. I don't see why not. Again, Cloud9 are a very aggressive team. They're just trying to find picks, and if they don't find the picks, they are pretty much screwed. They do have problems against an advantage.
It's very true. They're very entry frag dependent, but they have 3 players that can actually do it very convincingly, like Freakazoid, Stewie2K, and Shroud, all capable. Speaking of Freakazoid, he's gone with a Tech 9 and bagged himself the first kill, but everything else has landslided away from Cloud9 into G2's favor, and G2 Kingwin will move ahead again. And this map is going as expected. It's blow for blow. It's like a seesaw of Counter-Strike. Just when you think one team's going to start to pull away, the other team pulls them back. But Cloud9, because they did sacrifice some weapons in the previous round and went for pretty much an eco, it's going to be AK-47s and almost, well, that's enough grenades. They've got 5 smokes to execute on a site. That's more than enough.
I really liked Existence's movement in that last round. Even though it wasn't against an eco, he actually played it very smart, because I was getting a little worried for G2 there, because they actually lost the rifler on B site, and suddenly there was an all by Zolmsum, and that's not a good spot to be in against 4 Tech 9s rushing at you. And he played it really well. He hid behind the box and stalled time, and he had 3 players coming in, so very well played from him. It could have been a plant pretty easily for Cloud9 at least, but his play, just the positioning and just the one frag that he got there, allowed Shocks, I think, to come in from vents and help him out.
It's one of the perfect counters, of course, for Norp, if you just charge them, you know, all 4 players, unless you all line up and it's a crazy highlight, real worthy play, the chances are you are just going to outpower them. As you say, it was a sketchy position for a few moments for G2 Kingdom, but they held on, they held their nerve, and came out the round pretty convincing as well. Just a couple of players, I think maybe even just 1 player dropping. That being said, RPK opens up this round as he has so many times already here on CT side of Cash. He has been a real problem, a nemesis for Cloud9 to contend with. Smiths as well. He's going to bag himself a kill, and it's really interesting to me how adaptive G2 Kingwin are. They're having players constantly rotating around the map. Shroud is now the last player in the blink of an eye. His entire team will fall down from Cloud9, and G2 Kingwin again bag themselves around, but We've seen RPK play mid. We've seen him play A and B. Smiths has played B and A. It's very almost spawn based.
There's a lot of variety in that play for sure, but it's also because of the double op. I'm guessing they have to switch up a lot because of that. We can now see an auto sniper coming out from Smiths instead of an op. They actually don't have the double sniper set up this time. They only have the one auto sniper, but it's still a very good weapon, especially against that four-man rush, as we talked about before.
Exactly. I feel like this is a perfect read of the economic situation for Cloud9, but they're completely given up A. What the hell is going on, G2? They gave up A and played into the strengths, the core strengths of Cloud9 setup, which is effectively pistol rush. And I'm speechless. The Scar is now going to cross to Skadoodle, and he's going to be able to just pick whichever position he so chooses and just rain on down pain. He takes down Existence. That's probably going to be enough. Here comes RPK. 1 frag, 2 frag. Surely he's not going to pull this off. This would be brutal. And he's going to pick it off. Oh, my goodness. RPK with the ace and the clutch. Diffused.
1 versus 4. What a play from RPK.
What did we just witness? That round was absolute madness. G2 completely gave up A. Cloud9 rush it, take down 3 or 4 comfortable frags, and RPK just waltzes on into the site and kills everybody.
For one, I have no idea why you would leave A open for a team like Cloud9 that rushes a lot. They really go quickly into the sites. So I really don't understand why why G2 would leave A open. And yeah, RPK, I'm just speechless. There's nothing to talk about because he just had the kills and that's it.
Absolute madness. RPK, the monster, the player that you said to watch out for, and so far he has delivered on that promise. He is currently 17 for 7, and Smith's on 16 for 8. So it just goes to show how well those two have been playing together. That clutch really did catch me off guard because I simply did not expect Cloud9 to lose that. That being said, though, we are now live into the second half. Skadoodle will break the deadlock for Cloud9's CT side. There's nothing as well. Existence answers back. A decent avenge frag. But Cloud9 still have players, including an incendiary on Skadoodle. And he's playing over on the A side. So he could just pop that down onto A, stop the initial plant, allow the rest of Cloud9 to get into close enough proximity to force G2 away. That seems to be the order of play here. G2 Kinguin have already picked off frags on A, and now they're going to go for that bomb plant. The Cloud9, a bit out of positions. They are playing for the retake. They don't have a defuse kit in their hands just yet. I don't think nothing had one either. So it's going to be no defuse kits going back on. Of course, the changes to the round times and bomb plant is going to favor Cloud9 in this situation, but are they going to be able to get anything done? Existence from A main is going to get completely wrecked from Stewie2K, but then 3 frags back to back. It's a 1 versus 1. Shroud is going to be coming in, lands the headshot onto Shocks, and again Cloud9 clutch. This time it's Shroud to step up tall, but G2, they will be bitterly disappointed they lost that round.
I really want to see a replay from Shocks' point of view because he was the one to pick up all 3 frags that we saw literally maybe within 1 second, I think. Let's see. I'm not sure if we're actually going to get to see it. No. This is RPK's clutch.
Yeah. I suppose one thing here is that G2, in the form of RPK,
this last headshot
had it was a 1 versus 4, but it was effectively like 4 1v1s. Does that make sense?
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, they didn't have time to adjust, I don't think. They didn't even realize Shocks was so close, I think. Oh, wow. Nice headshot from Scream.
The Deeg is real. The Juan Deeg. We haven't seen too many of them so far in the tournament. Becoming more and more popular as a pistol upgrade at the top level of play because you just have that one-tap potential, which is so potent. The $700. 1-for-1 trade. G2 Kinguin will be fairly happy with that right off the get-go. They haven't invested too much into this round. And if they can get themselves another cheeky tap, convert that into a weapon, it's anybody's round. Mid control is completely lost as well for Cloud9. So that allows G2 Kinguin now to push in. They have more options. They can go through vent. They can try and push through connector or highway. Issue is that Stewie is there, and he's on point with the FAS. Spray down connects onto Scream's dome. RPK will trade out for the Deagle. Does do a lot of damage to Freakazoid, who gets finished off in the backside from Shox, who's coming through Squeaky. This is looking sketchy now for Cloud9. It's not just a case of winning the round, it's the case of winning it and keeping weapons intact, because they had assault rifles coming into this, plus a couple of SMGs. The only saving grace for Cloud9 just now is the bomb hasn't quite gotten to the site, but it's moving there very quickly, traversing through Squeaky in the hands of Existence. This bomb is going to get planted.
RPK could be really important here. We see him flanking from mid, just waiting for somebody to pop up, and all Cloud9 players are also going from CT spawn, so he could have a really big impact here.
Yeah, they're all funneling from the same area. Now we are starting to see that it was Shroud that decides, okay, Highway's probably a better idea for us, and Stewie2K with a double for mass headshots. He did open up on Highway earlier as well, and I got to say, Stewie has been playing pretty well. He's top fragging for his team. He's 14 for 13.
That's
so
nice.
Answering some of those questions, I don't want to say he's like proven on land just yet. Of course not, but the early signs are looking good.
Yes, for sure. I liked how Shroud decided to go from middle, because you do need a guy going from another angle.
Yeah, you can't afford to all bottleneck yourself.
Yeah,
into one
you end
location.
up in crossfire, and that's not a place you want to be in.
Even against just pistols, that's still deadly.
Exactly. That's pretty much what could have made the difference there. Even though the couple of guys that went from CT actually got both kills on the A site. It was just a little small important detail.
G2 Kingwin going to be playing this passive, very passive, with the exception of Shox, who again fancies his chances through Squeaky. Give that man a vac. Just switches to check through the wall. I'm kidding, of course. You shouldn't kid about that stuff.
No,
people take
probably
it
not.
seriously.
No, it's a dangerous place to be in.
It is dangerous. You're playing with fire. You're going to get burnt. Important to mention here, though, that Nothing does have a P19, does pick this weapon up from time to time. It's still very deadly at close range, even in rifle rounds against armor will shred through 50 bullets of doom and misery. But there's a FAMAS still in the hands of Freakazoid, so it's not a great buy for Cloud9. They're right on the brink of being collapsed and broken. Shox is going to just pop out and pick a second kill up. Massive individual performance, just like that, unlocks the door to A. And Cloud9 have a mountain to climb if they want to get back onto this. And it's just got a whole lot steeper. Nothing picked off. Shroud comes back, but it's all on Skadoodle. The guy has so much talent, but a 3 versus 1. The first kill hasn't gone clean. He's down to 15, and that pretty much just signifies the end of this round. No interest in going in. Save the M4. Live to fight another day. That will be G2 Kingwin extending their lead to 2 rounds now and hitting the double digits. And Cloud9's economy will be in tatters. Shroud is going to have enough to buy, but I feel like the rest of the team just want to tap out here to get a better buy coming through. They want Skadoodle on the AWP, of course, as soon as possible.
Yeah, definitely. I see a problem for Cloud9 coming in because 5 of those rounds that they got were actually based off of pistol rounds.
That's a very good point.
They won the first pistol round, got 2 rounds afterwards. Won the second pistol, got a round afterwards as well, even though it was close. They almost fell, but in another 1v4.
That's actually a really good point that you raised.
So they have 5 rounds based off of only pistol rounds and only 3 in the T-gun rounds. Yeah. So if they keep on the same track, it's going to be a world of problems for Cloud9, while G2 are actually looking like pretty heavy favorites going into Cloud9's pick.
So like the score's almost skewed in that sense. You see 10-8, you're thinking, okay, it's super close, but as you say, yeah, 5 rounds were off the back of the pistol round, then breaking the subsequent buy rounds. Since then, it's been G2 Kingwin, who now find themselves picking up their first T round as a result of that detonation. Shox, again, seems like he's going to be taking over the mantle of entry fragger for G2. He's constantly getting the first kills for his team. That's got to be a worrying sign. Again, G2 Kingwin are having multiple players step up to the plate. And Cloud9, I said, they could have tried to buy a couple weapons. It would have made no sense. It would have effectively screwed them if they lost the round. Instead, they're just going to be running off the 1M4 that Freakazoid has now, which was dropped from Skadoodle after he died. Of course, he saved it from the previous round. And that leaves that man, Freakazoid, with it all to do. Over on the A side, as the bomb is coming down, ticking down, G2 Kingwin have enough economy to chase this if they so choose. It'd be pretty important, I feel, to take this M4 away from Cloud9.
It is probably going to happen because they have a lot of time, and I think they feel him there. Oh, we just actually dropped. Nice. Actually, oh yeah. Well, Smith just went on a hunt there.
Okay, just imagine. At least it was at a point that nothing really mattered.
Yeah,
You knew that he's
exactly.
imagine RPK's clutch that happened.
Yeah.
Oh man, the
Nope.
tears.
Nope, no.
Feed on those tears. It would have been delicious.
No. But look at that. Smith's actually picking up 4 kills in the end, I believe. That's
Yeah.
the second one. He
It's
actually went
effectively-
on hunt after that. He was just like, yeah, why not? Why not pick up 2 more? So 4 kills from Smith. Once more, actually. After that CT round that we saw from him, the 4 kills with an up on B. So I actually do like how G2 players are stepping up individually.
I was curious if we'd see another sort of eco or half buy from Cloud9, so they could afford the AWP going through into round 21. But they decided to just pull the trigger and go for the full-on buy here instead. And the fact that nothing has fallen so early in the round just piles on the pressure now for the rest of the N8 squad to deliver. G2 Kingwin have had it all their way. They've been dictating the pace of the action. Skadoodle, it's going to come good. And he'd be the hero that Cloud9 desperately need right now because they are on the brink of just slipping away in this map. Second kill for Skadoodle. Great work from him. RPK is down to 32. The bomb is still dropped in Garage, but a lot of time to go and reclaim that. And Scream is just waiting. He's lurking. He's hoping that someone just pushes down highway and gives him that free kill. Meanwhile, it's Freakazoid. He gets traded out from existence. However, Scream finally has his chance. He had to make that count. That was probably the moment where you feel Scream could have came alive, and he has been quite quiet, honestly. G2 Kingwin have had shocks. They've had Smiths really step up. RPK's had his moments. Scream's been a bit hit or miss. So that's a big round for Cloud9, and they will have full assault rifles. Double up setup on the T side for G2 Kingwin.
I think Sharks is Sharks is the second one to pick up the op. Actually, Existence dropped him.
This has to be based off spawns.
It could be. I'm just wondering where Sharks could go.
Smith's had a good spawn for the A main side, and Sharks had a good spawn for B.
That's interesting.
So they're opting that Cloud9 will play aggressive, which they have done time and time again.
It's not an unreasonable assumption to make, for sure. Not against Cloud9, who are aggressive on both sides.
Yeah.
So it is not such a bad call, even though once the Cloud9 actually don't show up, it's going to become a problem. They will not be able to have the mobility that they need to have. And look at that, RPK actually falling down, and Shroud will have to not show himself there in checkers.
There you go. He jumps over. It's a standard spot for an op to be in this kind of stage of the round. So just smart play. Smoke as well stops the charge, allows him to go back into checkered, unregistered from G2 Kingwin. So the idea is to play with the minds of G2. And they're not biting anything just yet. Skadoodle just peeks round, cheeky couple taps and drops Scream down to 10. So a good round from Cloud9 thus far. They can't afford to let this collapse though, Striker.
I really like the patience that they have right now, Cloud9. Usually they're kind of happy to pull the trigger, but not this time. This time they're actually being very careful and very passive.
Absolutely. It has been a masterclass in patience. Nothing's going to get himself picked off finally, but it's Incendiary from the grave will avenge his death. Both the AWPs in play. Smith through the smoke. Good night, Freakazoid. Smith, 8 seconds. Surely there's no hope in him picking off anything else from this round. And indeed he won't. So a heavy commitment from G2 Kingwin falls flat on its face. And as a result, because of that economy being put in, they are onto an eco now. So this is Cloud9's chance to bring us back to even. And I believe both AWPs were picked up from Cloud9. So now they are able to use the AWPs against their adversaries. Skadoodle and Stewie2K will take these for themselves. So Stewie2K is going to be heading over towards the A side. Skadoodle on B. Both have pretty solid spawns. Skadoodle can go for the early peak.
Again, I really like the patience. They just took their time and didn't give the ops pretty much any space at all. That's all they needed to do in that round, and they could have let G2 just let it fall apart for themselves. It was just nothing they could do.
Speaking of nothing, he has opened up his account in round 22, and G2 Kingwin, you can see what they're trying to go for, just a slow, steady push, trying to maybe bait a couple players out, send a player in the form of Shocks into Squeaky, try and bait, but the fact they lost the first couple frags completely neutralizes their plan to start off with. And now it's on Shocks. the man who's consistently played this position so far on Squeaky. Been found out as a deagle, can't get any sexy one-taps, and will bite the dust. 11-11. And we said this match would be close. So far, it's delivered.
Definitely.
Score lines here as well. Top frag at Smiths was 21 for 13, and Skadoodle 20 for 11. So everybody having a pretty decent go at it today.
It's also going to be interesting to see how G2 react to the double op, because they actually saw both ops in play for Cloud9, so they're definitely going to make an adjustment here, and I'm wondering what that will be. It's actually going to be a fast A play, I think.
It'd be very intelligent to do that, actually, because you can get the set play onto the site. That starves the vision from the AWPs to really rain on out, and of course, if there is an AWP stuck on the site, it should be easy pickings in theory, but Freakazoid is here in a perfect position. If he just pops back up again, there'll be players for him to shoot. There's the first one. He will get traded out from RPK. No cover from Highway. That's typically a position you want somebody in to just watch the flank. Nothing though. Oh, the second kill through the smoke. That is disgusting. And he's still alive on there. That headshot through smoke could mean everything to Cloud9. He's gone back in again. The spray not quite on point. But has he inflicted enough damage with that quick to play to make G2 Kinguin stagger out of this round? The bomb is going down. Has been planted from screen. Here comes Shroud. Will be charging through, just preemptively shooting on. And Shox misses his opportunity. Skadoodle. I didn't see that from his perspective, but did he just
had to be
flick
a
no
flick.
scope?
It had to be a 360 or something, because it was super fast. 360 no scope.
This is the moment here. Like, nothing got a sick shot through the smoke, but I feel this spray, like we didn't see it on the replay, kind of derped. But he ended up having like a good on spray down, like, and he should have had that kill. There's like 10, 15 bullets that went, and he barely scratched. I think it was Scream that he was playing against.
Yeah, I think so.
That was unfortunate, but geez, that headshot on smoke, man, that was a bit nuts.
It changed the round completely.
Absolutely.
The guy inside who had to plant in the end just didn't have anything else to do. He was left there alone, just because of those two frags that nothing came up with.
Now G2 Kinguin go from a decent advantage, 2 rounds ahead with Cloud9 on the brink of collapse in their economy, to being in an eco, or a half buy I should say, with Tech9s and Kevlar, and being 2 rounds behind. So Cloud9 have steadied the ship, and they have corrected the course, and they're heading back to safe waters. G2 Kinguin, though, as a result of their half buy, they've got a solid buy up here. This is the shot right now. Boom, through the smoke. Existence didn't know what hit him. And then after that, where the replay cuts out, is where nothing had a spray down, where unfortunately he didn't quite have it on point. But again, he did the damage. He gave his team a shot. Because if he doesn't get that kill and he gets picked off, the A site is completely overrun at that point. They've lost it totally.
Yeah. We still can see the 2 ops. Looks like Stewie 2K wants to try again. That's it's gonna be interesting for G2 if they can see that coming again. But I think they will. I think they understand that it's a possibility, and they will take care when they peak popular corners.
I feel like this is a bit predictable now from G2 Kinguin. I can't remember them pushing B a whole bunch of times. It's by and large been mid to A. And so consistently Shox is in Squeaky. He's a terror in there, absolutely. We saw him get entry frags earlier, but at some point when you've read the situation, you just stop allowing him any chance to do anything from there. You just play him off, you can throw incendiaries to stop his charges, exactly what Stewie 2K is going to do right now. And Shox can't do much from this. Like, does he push through Molotov by himself and potentially die? No, he has to wait for someone else to have an impact elsewhere on the map. And in doing so, Cloud9 aren't as worried about the B execute, so they don't have to stack players here, but this could be the moment. They've got the frag, and now the bomb is starting to move onto the B site, but it's consistent kills. The Existence comes back, a 3-on-3 now. Bomb is on the site, and Shroud gets wrecked from Smiths, and his body just slides down the ramp. That's kind of unfortunate. Nothing from behind. You've got to get that kill. Finally gets it. 6 bullets left. Can he go back in for seconds? No, because he took so many bullets to kill the first player. He has to relocate. Bomb is down. RPK peeks round the corner, lands the headshot, and Smiths is there. G2 Kinguin get a much-needed round. Cloud9, if they won that, they're on the brink of victory.
Now we definitely have a game on our hands. It doesn't seem like G2 want to give up here, not at least not that quickly, because they would have been in a big problem if they did end up losing that 3v3. Because it would have been 14-11, and I don't think they would have a pretty good buy But like this, I think 3 players survived from G2, or 2 actually. 2 players survived. Still a little bit of bank. So still very much in the game, G2.
Totally, yeah. That round was huge. Can't really say much else. Just absolutely massive for them. They lose that. They're looking at a 14-11 deficit with not too much to play with, but as it stands, they've got a real hope. And we said before, it's a bit predictable. They push B, they get the entries, round's theirs. That's going to funnel Cloud9 into a more B-centric defense here, as you can see. 2 players on B, 2 players mid, one of which is playing highway, so he can quickly sweep himself onto A. If Stewie2K needs some backup, here's the lone A player with the AWP. We discussed this before as well. It is very susceptible to being rushed down, but G2 Kinguin haven't really shown a propensity to go for rushes so far. They've been happy enough to just play a bit more passive. Oh, Scream has bagged himself that kill. I assume he was up on the boost. Existence just watched his target drop in front of his eyes. Freakazoid could be the main man. Oh, Scream just runs by the headshot machine, lives up to his name again. Shox is there. And again, Cloud9 crumble in mid. Shroud with 2 kills, though, from behind is going to keep this round interesting, keep G2 Kinguin honest. And Skadoodle comes in. The main man for Cloud9 is all that remains now, as his teammate, his partner in crime, has been picked off, pushing through the flames. Undeterred, Molotov through. It's actually going to bounce off the wall.
Oh, is he going to do this?
He can just stick onto it. He's going for the defuse. No one's peeking him. What the hell's going on? Skadoodle steals around underneath G2 Kinguin's nose. That is a body blow, a gut punch, a kick to the love plums. G2 Kinguin, what are you doing?
Wow. Wow.
I've got to say, though, how does Skadoodle move with balls that size?
Yeah.
Like, how does he not trip over himself?
I mean, he probably understood that he didn't have a choice, but G2 either not hearing the plant through to the Molotov, due to the Molotov maybe? I don't know what they did. I do feel like they didn't hear the plant, I mean the defuse. That seems like the only explanation, because why wouldn't you peek in the 2v1? You just have to try. You can't let him defuse.
That's the thing, man. This is where I kind of wish we had game sound, because I couldn't tell if it masked the sound of the defuse or not.
It probably could have a bit, yeah, sure. I can see that happening, but I'm not sure if it, as again, we don't have the in-game sound, so I'm not sure exactly.
But even if it did, if you hear that Molotov go down, surely you have a quick peek.
Yeah.
You know, even if you don't hear the defuse.
The thing is, G2 probably understood that he has an op.
And it's Skadoodle, and he's currently on 24 for 12, so you have to fear him. That's respect, right?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
But still, Skadoodle, take a bow, sir. You've been consistently fantastic so far on Cash for Cloud9. That defuse, a ninja defuse, is going to hurt G2 Kinguin. The question is, can they bounce back? Can they shrug that off, dust off the cobwebs, and still take us into the latter stages here of Cash? If they can win this this round, I should say, Cloud9 wouldn't have a great economy, because remember, they did lose 4 players in the previous round that Skadoodle won, so they're still very vulnerable. 27 seconds, Freakazoid and Skadoodle open their accounts once more, but G2 Kinguin have got their grasp on the A site. The bomb is going to get planted. And Shox and Scream, on Spith, I should say, sorry, 2 of the best performances of G2 Kinguin. All that remains, Skadoodle through the smoke. I saw that from Shox's perspective. That looked like it was through the smoke. What is going on? G2 Kinguin are going to concede that round, and Cloud9 now have 3 map points. G2 Kinguin's economy, how is it looking? Not fantastic. They will be able to rummage together a buy, but nowhere near as good as they were hoping for.
It's nice to see that after the struggles that Cloud9 had on the T side, they have, let me see, I think it was, what was 9-6 in the half, correct?
Yes.
So they won the pistol round, it was 9-8. So in this, they're actually 3-7, 7-3 actually, in after the pistol round. So that they're actually well ahead. It only makes sense, they're obviously 15-12. They're on a match point, and G2, a bad buy, a really bad buy. 4 Tech 9s, 1 AK, and it looks like a B push.
I think at 10-8 we were saying that Cloud9, 5 of their rounds have been the result of the pistol round, so they have really turned this since then. As you say, a really poor buy. It forces them into a rush, trying to play to the advantages of those Tech 9s. The Scream with 2 kill Smiths as well. What's going on for Cloud9? This is your map to win, Freakazoid. Trying to get some last moment heroics. And now it's on the man in question, Stewie 2K. This would be a baptism of fire if he could pull off this clutch. We're putting right to the top of Cloud9 fans' lists, I'm sure. He does have a lot of things going his way, but the fact he's just lost his head to Scream is a bit of an issue. So Scream is going to bag himself 4 kills in that round, and G2 Kinguin dodge bullets, both literally and metaphorically, and will keep themselves on this map. And I did call this before, that Cloud9's economy has been in the balance for a while, and it has now just been broken.
You were also talking about Scream not showing up and suddenly 4 kills.
There you go.
In a very important round, also in a very hard round, because it's 4 Tech-9s, and Scream comes up with 4 kills. And that last shot was also very nice on Stewie, who tried to peek behind quad on the B bomb side there. So very nice from Scream to step up when he's needed. I'm still not sure. Well, Cloud9 are basically going to get a decent buy in the last round, but it's not going to be great. I don't think they're going to have an op.
It's going to be potentially a bargain bucket buy for sure. We have to see how it plays out for them. I suppose it depends. If they can get some kills in this round, that would definitely, bolster their economy somewhat. Get some $300 here or there. Maybe if they can save a weapon. There's a lot of maybes, ifs, and buts. G2 Kinguin. Oh, the Masters are on fate right now, though. This is their round to win. They cannot afford to throw this away. Literally in the sense that they would be losing the map if they did. This should be theirs. RPK stepping up once more for his team. 2 AK kills. Smiths is there as well. And Cloud9 looking like they will concede a 14th round unless nothing can pull off something spectacular. Scream on point again with the headshots. And Cloud9 go from map points.
Now it's time to shine for Cloud9. Only 4K, I believe. Only 4K on most of the players or less. So not a great buy at all. They're not going to have too much utility. Oh, did they find an AWP somewhere?
Yeah, Stewie had 4.8k, so
okay.
he bought the AWP at the expense of Kevlar. So they're really saying, okay, Skudul, you're playing well.
Yeah.
You're carrying us.
Yeah.
There's the AWP. Go.
I do actually agree with that.
Yeah. Play to if he's on form, give him the AWP. Give him what he needs to use.
Play
but the problem there is, you can see, man, like they have very little utility, no defuse kits whatsoever. So they almost have to play for information and play aggressively. And if G2 Kinguin have called this, and it looks like they have, look at Scream, he's just hanging back, he's waiting for someone to go for that boost.
Shroud doesn't want to go peek, not right now. Well, now he could.
Oh, hello. Hello. Who's got the quicker reactions? It's going to be Scream! After the 4 kills, he warmed himself up, and Shroud gets absolutely decimated.
It is Scream after all.
It is. Oh my goodness, Cloud9. This would be brutal if they gave away, what was it, 3 map points? 15-12 at one point, and now we're down to a very real possibility of overtime. I believe that will be the first time we've had overtime in this tournament thus far. But there are still 3 NA players alive and kicking, one of which is Freakazoid. He started off this map so well. Sick 4-man entry frags on A, looking to come full circle and take this map away from G2 Kinguin.
All three players from Cloud9 rotated to A. They're banking everything on this. And so all of them are in CT right now. What is happening?
Yeah, 6 players alive, all of them around the same position. That being said, Cloud9 are now starting to funnel their way over to the B side. I think that Molotov is going to give things away somewhat. Skadoodle, that was an important kill, but he gets traded out. It's all on Freakazoid. A 1 versus 2, and Scream with the drive-by headshot. He started this so poorly. Another 4K for him. And moves himself to 22 for 18. So that goes to show he got 2 4Ks in the last few rounds. Up until that point, he was hovering around sort of 12 for 18 or so.
Yeah.
My goodness, this game has delivered. So you can see there, the top fraggers, Skadoodle 28 for 15, and Smith 27 for 18. And strangely enough, both the uppers for their team.
I have to say that boost on middle was definitely ballsy.
Yes.
And I have to commend Cloud9 for having the balls to do that in a round like that, where you're playing basically for either letting them to go to overtime or the map win. So pulling that off in a round like that is I actually do like it, just because it could be surprising. Not to G2 in the end, especially with Scream winning that duel, but I did like it. And Cloud9 actually did have a really good chance of coming out on top, and we can see, the couple of highlights Smith's 4K, now RPK with the 1v4. It was just so quick. I don't think Cloud9 could have reacted, actually. I don't think they had time to adjust positions or just react to anything he did, because he killed three players in probably in like 3 seconds.
That's it. Like, I didn't really react fully because I was like kind of blown away. It's like a tornado of RPK just came through.
It was
with
so
force of
unexpected.
nature.
Now we see the nothing double kill. Also, one of the very important rounds for Cloud9.
The differences as well in the score and how the scores are kind of filtered out. On Cloud9, he got 28 for 15 for Skadoodle. Closest player on his team's on 19. On the other side of G2 Kingwin, 4 players and 20 kills. So 6 kills separate the top 4 players, and Existence on 10 for 21. This is pretty standard. Obviously, Existence isn't a mad fragger for his team. You're not expecting him to post up the crazy scores, but you can see that Cloud9 needs someone else to share the burden of weight. We are now live into overtime between Cloud9 and G2 Kingwin. Double up setup for Cloud9 in play. There we go. Back on the screen we go. And Smiths does have himself the AWP as well. So 3 AWPs in play. Street2K, I've got to say, didn't really have any impact with the AWP from what I can remember. It's mainly been
Not
Skadoodle.
too much. Yeah, it's mainly been Skadoodle. Stewie had a kill here and there, but it wasn't very impactful. So not sure if that's a great idea, but obviously he can still have a lot of impact with that gun, especially if G2 don't expect it, which they probably will anyway. Shock's still behind the squeaky door. We saw him with having a lot of success behind there.
Yeah. I think for G2 Kingwin, though, they did start to get a bit predictable with these mid to A plays consistently. So I do question if Cloud9 have read this situation. They've given up mid control. This is pretty standard from them, though. They don't typically like to go aggressive. We saw G2 Kingwin occupying it often with RPK. That entry frag's pretty important, but Stewie 2K, as we said, he hasn't had too much impact. Does land the 1 frag, but will get traded out. So it may not be enough. The bomb is dropped in no man's land. Skadoodle now with the AWP spots a Pixel moving across a bit too early on the trigger. And now it looks as though Shox is going to be able to traverse back. No, Skadoodle picks him off in mid-air, plucks him out the air, and drops the bomb on the ground. And now Smiths with the AWP, the top fragger for G2 Kingwin, the beast himself is still alive. Behind quad, has a nade, and that's all. So if Cloud9 push together, this should be their round. Smiths is still desperate for a quick pick. Here come the CTs, and very well played from Cloud9. As I said before, it's important they use their strength in numbers approach. That's exactly what happens. Is Skadoodle just jumping on a lamppost, because why the hell not? Bomber gets defused as well. Good round for Cloud9. That shot, I think, onto Shox as he crossed onto the side, was the key
very
moment.
Important. Still, this 1v2 situation, especially against an AWP, is very hard because the AWP can quickly just pick off one, even though if they were to go right next to each other, he would probably still get one shot and be able to hide, and suddenly it's 1v1, and then that's a different situation. So those situations are always very hard, even for the 2 players. So it was basically just down to timing, because Smith was watching the other angle while Skadoodle just moved himself for a better one. So really down to timing, and usually that's what happens in these 2v1s, especially when you have a guy behind quad. He always kind of steps back and forth, and this time Smith just wasn't very lucky with the timings.
I also like that they both went the same angle as well to make sure that the avenge frag possibility was very much a real thing.
It was at least possible. It wasn't really granted, not even close, but it was definitely more possible than if they tried to go each from other angle.
Of course, 19 the magic number for both teams. Cloud9 have moved 1 giant step forward towards that total. Again, almost a carbon copy of the previous rounds where G2 Kingwin just take control over mid. This time Existence goes through connector. This is something they haven't really done before. Typically it's been up highway that they've traversed and had a player go through vents, but Existence with 2. Meanwhile though, you have to keep an eye on Shroud. He is lurking behind in Sunroom. Can he get it done? First kill goes down, the bomb's gone, and a second kill as well. Shroud comes alive. He will be traded out, but with that bomb dropping, Smiths now has to get a move on. And he's going to walk right into the embracing arms of nothing. And Cloud9 get their second round in overtime. And most of it was down to Shroud. Perfect placement, patient play.
he actually
his
flashed
opportunities.
himself as well, just to make sure that G2 couldn't see him at all. The pop flash was really nice. Both players that were coming into his direction were completely flashed. Nothing they could have done. So great play from Shroud. I'm not sure when he actually found the time to get there. It was probably at some point during the existence push to connector where he got the 2 kills.
It's an excellent call, right? Because they've gone mid so many times that at some point you have to make the most of that. You have
Exactly.
to realize, okay, well, if they're pushing mid and they're going A, I can start to get information around the back. And if they change their mind, because we have seen G2 King win a couple times go mid and then decide to go B with like 30 seconds to go. That's such a good read of the game. And this is why, you know, predictability is always a bad thing in Counter-Strike, because it allows players to read the game so well. Now as we stand, Smith only has Tech 9. I've seen G2 King win with worse buys than this, but it's only Existence that's stepping up to the plate now. He was by far the bottom fragger for his team. He seems like the only guy that's shown up in overtime thus far. Shox has a moment to maybe shine, but 3 players left for Cloud9. Surely they can't let this slip. The bomb is dropped out in the open as well. It's only a couple meters away, so frustrating for Shox, but if he goes for it, there will be a crossfire set, and nothing. Lands the headshot. Cloud9 have 3 more map points as they move through onto the T side of overtime.
I was getting worried for Stewie 2K behind the quad there, because he actually had a Molotov out when a player was actually flanking him behind, around the quad already. So I was almost sure he was going to go down there, but still getting 2 kills there, definitely the highlighted play of that round. So great play from him, although in the end he actually did get a little bit overzealous and peeked Shox when he didn't have to. It was still a 1v3 afterwards, but just a tiny mistake from an inexperienced player like him. It's very understandable. So a lot is gonna come down to these first 2 rounds.
Oh yeah.
Because if they are able to win this G2, they could go 3-0. Because if I'm not mistaken, they're gonna have 10K going into this.
Correct.
And that means they will not have a great buy. Definitely not an up for the 3rd round in case G2 do pick up these 2. But that's obviously still a long way to go.
Definitely. And if you remember, Cloud9 started off at 5-0. Fair enough, it was down to economic downturn and the pistol and such, but Freakazoid was the man. And I'm wondering if he is going to be the man once again, if history will repeat itself. Nothing with a big kill. There is Freakazoid, the man himself, but he gets picked off from Scream, who's consistently landing those headshots. Such huge, impactful frags. Stops the charge onto A. It's still going to be going in, though, with the bomb plant, but the numbers have been thinned. Shroud and Skadoodle, only a HE between them, but they have the positional advantage. There is a Molotov still in the hand of RPK. It has been thrown onto the site. That's not going to deter Shroud a great deal, but his teammate has been picked off, and Scream bangs his 3rd. He is taking damage from the Molotov, but they have more than enough time to defuse after it has dissipated. And G2 King win. I'm going to pick up the first round here on their CT side of overtime. They still have a large mountain to climb before they get back to 18-18, but that's the best possible way of starting, of course. No AWP in play for them.
1 down, 2 to go. And let's see what Cloud9 come up with on the T side, because we did see a lot of struggles from them. As we said, only 3 1-gun rounds throughout the entire half. That's not a lot. So they do have to switch things up.
There's the run boost. Yeah, maybe the first time that we've seen this so far for both teams. This is a great time to bust that straight out. Probably not going to be expecting it from Cloud9's perspective. And they have liked these fast pushes, so that definitely negates the chance to check the corner. Goes for the fast reload. For me, that's a bit of an interesting decision, because you must assume there's going to be more cavalry behind the Freakazoid rush. That being said, G2 Kingwin still put the hammer down and have stopped this push dead in its tracks so far. Bomb's still yet to be planted. They have themselves Shox on the site, and he has just delivered the fatal blow to Shroud. And the 2nd kill for Skadoodle. Great hold from G2 Kingwin.
This is what I was talking about.
Looks like that situation that you mentioned could very well come to fruition. There is going to be a buy for Cloud9, but you said this before, it could be lacking an AWP, and Skadoodle has done the majority of his work with the AWP.
He's probably not going to have a gun anyway, if I'm not mistaken. He should end up with a Tech 9, or maybe an SMG.
There we go, Tech 9.
Yeah, he does have a Tech 9.
So you've got your top fragger, a guy who's been consistently pretty awesome on a Tech 9.
Yeah, not the greatest buy for him. Still not a bad buy for Cloud9 by any measure. It's still a lot of utility for them. 4 AKs, 1 Tech 9, who can just kind of bait and switch. But let's see what Smith can do here.
Yeah, Smith went through with the smoke and the flashes. He actually gets flashed again. He can't see anything. And Stewie2k is going to pounce on that opportunity. A big kill, but Scream is there once more from Forklift. Gets straight out from Stewie2k, who's now stepping up big to the plate. Oh, he is so close to landing that headshot through the smoke. Goes back in for seconds. Lands it, Stewie2k. With 3 kills, 3 massive kills for Cloud9, which could just about secure them cash. RPK in existence. Do you have what it takes to bring this back for your team? It's looking so unlikely. Nothing is lurking just outside the highway. And as soon as this action starts coming down, he will be peaking. And Stewie2k and Shroud finalize cash for Cloud9. And it was a sketchy finish to the map. You're thinking at 15-12, it's theirs. There's no way they can lose from this point. Goes to overtime. You're then thinking, okay, 18-15. There's no way they can lose from this point.
Yeah.
And then we're right down to the wire. But they just about cling on.
I do have to say, Smith's was really legit.